Welcome to our second video for Module 1, Part 1, Native American Societies and European Exploration. Just to recap from our last video, while you watch, I encourage you to take notes, but try not to write what you're seeing on the screen word for word. If notes really aren't your style, then I encourage you to doodle or draw pictures or symbols that help you remember what it is you're hearing and seeing on the screen. Just like the previous video, there will be opportunities to pause and practice, and I encourage you to actually pause the video when prompted to do so. Jot down answers for the essential questions within your notes, and then test your knowledge as you continue listening. If there are questions that come up on your end as you listen, feel free to jot those also down in your notes, and hopefully they're answered as you continue to listen to the video, but if not, feel free to reach out to either your teacher or a classmate. All right, so an overview of what we're going to cover in this video. First, why were Europeans exploring at this point in time? Second, what do I need to know about, yes, we have to, that guy, Columbus? And then finally, what were the historical effects of Europeans on African and Native American societies? All right, so to begin with, why were Europeans exploring at this point in time? Hold up, what time? Well, we're approximately looking at 1400 to 1600. This is going to be the main range of European exploration. So the Renaissance is going to be a huge influence in kickstarting European exploration. The Renaissance means rebirth, and this is an ideal that would have influenced Europeans to investigate all aspects of the physical world. So with this idea of the Renaissance and investigation and trying to figure out the answers that simply weren't there before, I want you to insert Prince Henry. No, not that Prince Henry. This Prince Henry, the navigator of Portugal. Now, he had heard of riches off the west coast of Africa and was extremely interested in potentially venturing off and gaining those riches for Portugal. And a lot of historians are going to trace his initiatives back to really kickstarting European exploration. To kind of give you some insight about European society around the 1400s, most Europeans lived in small villages, and the majority worked for lords or nobles in a system known as feudalism. Feudalism was a type of social hierarchy, and the hierarchy is going to be one of your vocabulary words. It's a social ordering by rank or class. So you can see here I've got a visual of a pyramid that breaks down this social hierarchy that I'm referring to. On top, we have a king. Underneath a king, we would have had lords or nobles who are obviously loyal to the king. Underneath them, we would have had knights. And then following that and making up the majority of the population at this point in time are going to be peasants or serfs. Now, if you're thinking, man, this really is a terrible system. It sucks that the majority of the people within a village or a country are the peasants. I really want you to pause and consider the fact that this is the 1400s, and most people accepted their position in life. And this was because almost everything was believed to be ordained by God. Okay, so the only people that had the actual opportunity of moving outside of their level within the pyramid were going to be merchants. Now, merchants aren't exactly honorable at this point in time, but with that being said, they are the only social class that has the ability to rise up from humble beginnings based on economic opportunity. And royals encouraged merchants and actually really needed them for both their trade routes as well as the economic power they offered in connecting their village or country to other villages or other countries and trade routes. Now, another main reason why Europeans are exploring is going to come down to these three factors. We have God, gold, and glory. And these are really important to remember in trying to explain why suddenly Europe is taking the forefront of exploration in the world. To begin with, you might have heard about this before, but I'm still going to cover it. The Crusades happened in 1096 to roughly 1270, and they were a series of military expeditions to force out Muslims from Europe and take back the Holy Land. Now, while the Crusades weren't militaristically successful, it did actually bring Europe into contact with completely new cultures and completely new trade markets. In addition to that, the Crusades cemented the Christian identity of Europe because so many countries were willing to fight for their religion. It really solidified their belief system. And it also influenced them, Europeans, to believe that more people around the world should convert to Christianity. So, like I mentioned before, the Crusades aren't that successful in their military expeditions, but it's going to drive this idea forward that more of the world needs to convert. And it really makes Europeans interested in alternative trade markets or economic worlds. Now, I feel like I don't necessarily need to explain gold because, quite honestly, who doesn't want gold? But this is going to be another huge factor in influencing Europeans to explore at this point in time. Promises of gold in places such as West Africa are going to encourage initial exploration. If you got more gold for your country, well, then you were successful. And many Europeans, like Columbus, are going out exploring specifically for gold, okay, among other materials and economic opportunities. Now, if you are capable of spreading or converting other people to Christianity, and you are able to also find amazing stocks of gold, well, then you had the pride of bringing glory to your country. And so European countries, they're all competing for who's the most powerful in these two categories in order to spread their pride, their glory. And power is going to come in the form of wealth and colonizing other countries to convert them and use their resources.